166 East Main.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I can't picture it. Can you describe it to me?
Yeah, it's in need of a lot of repair, and it seems as if someone's been working on it very slowly, and not so much this winter, but they were starting back in the fall, and I hadn't seen anything come past us.
That's just a couple houses up from Lee Street, going up the street on that side. On the right as you're going up the street,
As you're on the right, as you're going west.
as
Yeah.
you're going west, right?
Yep.
That's, people have been working on that off and on for a few years.
It's a very interesting piece of architecture, but it surely is in need of considerable renovation.
Oh, I was inside looking at it. It was for sale. That's probably 15 years or so ago. And the floors are just crooked. The whole building is crooked.
Bethany, do we look good on the live stream?
Hang on one second. I have it on my desktop here.
Hi, everyone.
Yes, we are live. Looking good.
Oh.
Okay, thank you. I just got all that feedback cleared up, but we look good on the live stream?
Yep.
All right, we have a quorum. So without further ado, Chair Hein, I'd like to turn the meeting over to you.
All right, thank you. Well, I'd like to call to order the Historic District Commission meeting for Monday, March 8th, 2021. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America
and to
the
the
republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible, with
liberty and justice for all.
all. Thank you. The Frostburg Historic District Commission implements the city's Historic Preservation Overlay District of the Frostburg Zoning Ordinance, Section 4, as adopted in 2014, pursuant to the authority granted by the Maryland Land Use Article, Section 8, as adopted in 2012 of the Annotated Code of Maryland. This meeting is open to the public and conducted in compliance with the State of Maryland's Open Meeting Act. The Frostburg Historic District Commission is charged with the preservation of historic structures and the surroundings within the designated district in order to safeguard the heritage of the city, stabilize and improve property values, strengthen the local economy, and foster civic beauty. All right, roll call, please. All right, I am Dawn Hein, I am present. Joseph Hoffman.
Present.
Bill Detterman. He is not with us today. Rob Raypen.
Present.
And Maureen Brewer.
Here.
And our alternate Daniel Filer is not with us today either. So commissioners, if you would please take a few moments to review the agenda for today. And if I could have a motion once you are ready.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second. It's Maureen Brewer, I'll second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
All right, hearing none opposed, the agenda is approved. Moving on to the minutes from January of 2021. So commissioners, if you would please review the previous minutes, and when you are ready, if I could have a motion.
This is Maureen Brewer. I will make a motion to approve the minutes.
Rob Reppin, I second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, hearing none opposed, the minutes are approved. All right, looks like we can move on to our presentation for this evening. Carol Lee Curtis, 28 Yule Street, for front porch alterations.
Thank you, Chair Hein. Bethany and I will be presenting on behalf of Miss Carol Lee Curtis this evening because she does not have the ability to join us in this virtual format. And we have had Bethany and I both have had a number of conversations with Miss Curtis so that we feel confident to present on her behalf. So what Miss Curtis proposes is to replace the porch, the front porch floor. It's currently tongue and groove flooring, and she's going to replace that in kind. The supports and beams under the porch are to be replaced because they have deteriorated, and they will be replaced in kind as well. There is an original spindle style that she proposes to install along the length of the porch. And that'll be made of plywood and placed in between the columns. And we have some specific photos to show you to describe what is proposed. And the height of the porch and the rail remain the same as they are now. So there's no major change proposed, except to change the way the spindles appear. So here is a drawing of hand-cut spindles that she proposes to put across the front of the porch. She actually has some of the original pieces that were part of the original porch, and she has hired a carpenter to cut out more of them to be able to put on the length of the porch. So with that, I'm going to change what I'm sharing here and show you some photos. Here we go. So can everyone see that photograph of the house at 28 Yule Street?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So here's how it appears on the street at the front. And this area in the front where you see solid plywood that's showing signs of cracking and chipping, this is the area where she proposes to remove these solid wooden boards and put mandolin-shaped spindles all along the front of this section. This section will remain the same height. And these original turned posts with the brackets at the top will remain as is. And there's some decorative molding across the fascia here. It's in a floral motif. That will not be touched. That will remain the same as it is. There's a little closer up detail of these brackets. They're very highly stylized, and the gingerbread or dental molding across the top of the fascia there is very ornate. And you can get a better view of the solid plywood panels that have been installed. And those are what will be removed and replaced with the mandolin-shaped spindles. At the bottom of the porch, you see cement block foundation, and it's this porch floor which is set behind the solid plywood panels that will be completely replaced because that's deteriorated. But again, that'll be replaced in kind.
LJ, I couldn't hear you. You kind of cut out at one point. What did you say about the foundation of the porch?
The foundation is constructed out of cement block and will not be changed. You can see the cement block down here at the bottom. But this wooden porch flooring that you can see the band board across the front here and then see just a little bit of it what exists behind those current plywood panels will be replaced in kind as tongue and groove wood flooring.
So LJ, was before that solid part of the fence, before that was installed, were there spindles in place that look like the ones you're showing us now?
Yes, and the homeowner has advised us that she has a few of the original pieces left, but most of the original was damaged. So she's used the few pieces that she has left to give to a carpenter so they can be recreated.
And I guess my other question, more out of curiosity, I guess, was the orientation of the stairs always to the side, or was it originally in the front? Do we even know? I didn't know if we had any historic.
Question, and I do not have the answer. No, the only photo I have is from the inventory and what we've taken to support the application. I don't have a historic photo of that original porch.
Okay.
Bethany, based on all of our discussions, is there anything you'd like to add that I may have left out on Ms. Curtis's behalf?
I think you've covered everything. That pretty well sums up what she's planning to do there.
Thank you.
All right, commissioners, is there any discussion or further questions for Bethany or LJ?
No, I think it's, you know what I'm thinking of, looking around at town, and there aren't too many of those kind of supports left for porches. I know there are one or two, but I don't remember very many. So it'd be good to see something like that come back.
All right. I assume we don't have any public with us today for public comment, or did we receive any?
We do not have anyone joining us from the public today. And when we advertised the meeting over the last 2 weeks, we asked that comments submitted via email, and I have received none. No public comment.
Okay, commissioners, are we ready to make a motion, or are there any further questions?
I'd like to make a motion. I studied the application and all relevant documents and presentation related to this case. I'm familiar with the property in question. I find that the proposed changes are compatible with the neighborhood because there is a general compatibility of exterior design, scale, proportion, arrangement, texture, and materials to be used. Based on these findings, I move to approve the proposal because the use of exterior materials are closely similar in appearance to original materials or significant buildings in the district pursuant to section 4.1.j.1.c and 4.1.j.2.I.
This is-
Robert Pand, I second the motion.
All right, having a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Um, Hearing none opposed, then the motion passes.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much. Let the record reflect that that's a unanimous vote in favor of this application.
All right, so I think that is our only project for this evening.
Indeed.
So let's move on to the old business that we have listed here, the Frostburg Cemetery documentation.
Yes, so at our January meeting, I had given a staff update about a preservation planners roundtable that I had attended pertaining to cemetery documentation. And I believe it was Joe that had asked about Frostburg Cemetery specifically. So I went ahead and I looked at some of our most documented cemeteries that we have in the immediate Frostburg area. And I compiled some links just in case any commissioners wanted to check it out. And it kind of is interesting, you know, the amount that our cemeteries are documented. We've got some pretty good numbers compared to other cemeteries locally. So I just wanted to share that information with you all in case you were curious.
I can also share that the St. Michael's Cemetery, there is, I don't know what's on the Find a Grave that you have listed here, but the church has an extensive amount of information about the cemetery, who's buried there, pictures, all that kind of thing. That is probably not on Find a Grave.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, and also wanted to point out that Frostburg State University professors Olson and one other, I forget, have done significant scholarship on the Percy Graves and site, and I believe in the library on campus you'll find the results of what they have found.
That's Dr. Crosby working in
Crosby.
conjunction with Dr. Olson.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you. I had a senior moment.
Happens to the best of us, no worries.
But
I know that Find a Grave also has records of Eckerd Cemetery and I think in Porter Cemetery and Mount Savage Cemetery. So I have relatives in all three of those.
Yes, I only included the most heavily photographed cemeteries that are on Find a Grave. There are several more from our local area, but they're not as well documented as the ones that I listed here.
Thanks for doing that, Bethany.
yes,
Sure.
thank you so much. Is this something that we might put on our historic district site?
I
That
don't
would
see
be
why we couldn't link to
Yeah,
it.
I think that's a great idea. We could certainly link to that. That would help our citizens in their efforts to research family history. That's a great idea. I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm suspecting that there are quite a few people who don't know the fact that this kind of a database is so easily used and so available.
Yeah, it's a great resource.
All right, if there aren't any other comments or questions, let's talk about wrought iron versus cast iron fencing.
So it's quite possible that in the near future, an application will come before this commission to repair and replace damaged of wrought iron fencing. I found a YouTube video that I wanted to share with you and that I've shared with applicants in the past in terms of preserving and repairing both wrought iron and cast iron fencing. It can be a little tricky and it requires some tender loving care to do it properly and preserve it. So I just wanted to make you aware that this is a resource we had found and this is something we share with applicants and that you may be looking at something like this in the near future. And I just wanted to share with you that we have indeed posted this video on the Historic District Commission webpage. So that is there for all to see and for anyone to use as a resource.
Great. There are also preservation briefs about
Yes.
that topic as well, which I don't know if they get a little more technical maybe than the video. The video may be more user friendly, but the preservation briefs would probably have a lot of good information in them as well.
They absolutely do. And we routinely share those with applicants as well. This video happens to be approximately 9 minutes long to watch. The preservation brief is more extensive and much more detailed. So they go well hand in hand.
Yep. All right. Let's move on to outreach to local sign companies regarding signage in the historic district.
Yes, so we have had in recent months an influx of sign applications within the historic district. So I went ahead and prepared an outreach packet that went to 4 different local sign companies, just letting them know that, you know, historic district approval is needed before installing signage, especially in downtown Frostburg. So this packet included just kind of an overview letter, guidelines that were provided by the Register of Historic Places, specific to recommendations for storefronts and signage. And then I provided code references from our municipal code pertaining to our historic preservation overlay district, and also our sign ordinance that states the need for a sign permit in addition to historic district approval. And I think that was all that was included. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I also included information about the installation of signage, where installers are wanting to, or they need to install into the mortar rather than into the brick. So we just wanted to put the word out there and just get that in the front of our local sign companies' minds, just to be mindful of things like that whenever they're taking on new projects within our historic district.
That's great. Thank you for doing that.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Do we have any new business this evening?
I do not have anything new to bring you this evening.
All right. Anyone else? And commissioners, do you have anything new to present or talk about this evening?
Only thing I have a question with this is Maureen Brewer. Other question I have is about the wrought iron versus cast iron fencing. As you know, we have a huge fence in front of our house, and people have hit it with cars. So do we have resources on local people who can actually work on those fences, who like know what they're doing? Do we know who can do that, or do we have a list of contractors or anything?
I do not currently have a list of contractors for that type of repair, but that's something I can definitely look into.
Yeah, because that's the problem I find is like I'm not capable of making those repairs to make it. I mean, right now we're using black zip ties on some, which you can't see from the street. It's not damaging anything, but it's holding things delicately together. Like last year, some kids were walking down the sidewalk and just kicked a section of our fence in, and I watched them. I was like, what are you doing? What is happening there?
Yeah.
Hold on, that's a sidebar, but it would be nice. I've been trying to find somebody who could do repairs, because there has to be something other than the zip tie.
Sure, we'll definitely look into that and do some research and see what kind of craftsmen and artisans and welders and repairers that we can find to work on things like that. I'm sure it gets really complicated when a portion of a panel is damaged and it may be very difficult or perhaps impossible to find a replacement panel. So
And the thing is we have all the pieces.
oh, good.
We just
That's
need
great.
to kind of to put them in place. And the fortunate part is one of the damaged sections kind of did fall over, and that kind of, I think, saved the rest of the fence. Like as the damaged parts just keep falling, it kind of brings the rest of it with it. So
Yeah.
some of those heavier pieces, they're really heavy.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't kind of just said, let's just remove these so it doesn't weigh on the rest of them. But
Right.
have them, and that is a difficult part. I did reach out to Mike Edelman to see
Oh, yeah.
do it. So he might be a reference, but at the time,
The possibility.
he was very, very busy at that time. So, but he might be a good resource just to start.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of as well, Maureen.
Right.
You know, another person that might have some information about local craftsmen who could handle that would be Dustin Davis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Dustin, he's a retired faculty member from Frostburg and does a lot of artwork with metal.
I've recently worked with Dr. Davis on the installation of statues at the parish parking area, the little green space where there's some benches and the grassy area. We recently had some statues installed there, and they were a gift from Dr. Davis. They were a collaborative effort between the art and engineering departments at FSU, and they donated those to us. And then our Parks and Rec department did the installation for us. So I'd be happy to reach out to Dr. Davis and ask for some recommendations and some insight on that.
They look great, I think, those statues.
They do. They look terrific.
Yeah, they're cool.
I think Marshall Ruby has done metal work too, because he made a lot, maybe all of the original wreaths that we do on the lamppost.
Great.
So that might be one.
I think it would be
Very good.
worthwhile to extend, rather than just looking for metal workers. I think it would be worthwhile to put together a whole contractor
Right.
list of, brick refinishing and repointing and things like that,
Right.
or carpenters that can do the custom cutouts, just like Miss Curtis is having done.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a more comprehensive list that extends to all the different kinds of work that we could have done or would need done in the historic district.
And-
Definitely, that's a really great idea, because we, in terms of local craftsmen who really can do a decent job on a historic house, not every contractor is
Right.
capable of that, and some do specialize. And I think that would be a great list for us to put together.
We have always used Hillegas, which is they're really, really, really good meticulate. I mean, we've had some of their staff here for every day for 2 months working on a project, and they're very trustworthy. You can leave to go to work and have them in the house all day. Especially that's interior and exterior for Hillegas, but they're in high demand also because of that.
Mhm.
That's great.
But that's a good place to start.
Okay, very good. Well, we'll start building a comprehensive list and bring it back to this commission for a review and approval before we put that out to the public.
Great.
LJ, the state does have a list that they have various contractors that specialize on historic properties. So you may want to try there and see if there are any that work in our area on the list.
Okay.
So I think if you go to the trusts, the state, if you go to their website, you can get to it from there.
Very good. Great. Thank you.
I think two others I can think of are stucco, because I have stucco in my house, and windows. Because
Mhm.
we've had discussions before about replacing or for repairing.
Mhm.
Indeed, we have. Yes, that's a big issue. Very good.
I think how the state handles it is they put like a disclaimer on the list saying that they don't recommend any one particular
Right.
of those listed, but that they are qualified to work on historic properties and have, a specialization in whatever area, because they divide it up just like we're talking to windows and to stucco and to wrought iron fencing, etc.
Great.
All right, so I think we've covered everything. So if there's nothing else, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, hearing none opposed, our meeting is adjourned for this evening.
Great. Hey, thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you always for your service to our community. We appreciate you immensely, and it's been really nice to see you this evening. Good evening, and we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thanks. Good seeing everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Right.